All right. Welcome to this week's AQ Weekly. Um, Let me see where to start. I think, even saying AQ Weekly might confuse some of you out there since not a pile of you have read my book yet. But those in the instructional design industry, learning and development industry, I would actually suggest go ahead and pick it up because um, it really will give that insight as to what AQ is. Everybody's heard of IQ, everybody's heard of EQ. Um, I'm pushing out a new one. So, AQ, application quotient. Why? Because application is a significant issue in any level of corporate training that we find as problematic as we create the most beautiful training, gamify it, add all kinds of engagement with it. Our learners look real excited and they leave the classroom, woo, yeah, that was great. And then Monday comes along and they see their email box and they're like, oh, all right, back to work. And all of the training, really, for all practical purposes, goes to waste. I find that a tremendous shame and one of the core issues that, every single downturn in the economy where the CEOs start targeting the training department and start adding money to the sales department or R&D or any other place except for the training department, that budget gets slashed. That's one of the first things to get slashed by and large. Very exhausting to be in that space. And I've been, at all levels of that space from executive all the way down to, one of the grunts building out the trainings. And in all honesty, as an executive, building out the trainings because always running on lean budgets and needs must as the devil drives. That being said, so why did I write this book? Well, 2023 came around, said at the end of 2023, you're no longer going to be in this industry. I didn't really sit around twiddling my thumbs, went looking for work, still by and large still looking for, or am still looking for work, but back in the field that I love, where all my passions lie, kind of moved on to the life insurance industry. That's a whole other story um, at, at this point. But that being said, I had a lot I felt I still had to offer, and therefore created this book with an entire framework of where do we move from this concept of organizations thinking that we just need to give them a training site, give them an LMS, give them opportunity to learn whatever the heck they want. All of that is great, and most HR surveys would suggest that one of the things that people will keep people in an industry are is training. It's that is a fact. People, if I don't feel supported in my capability to grow, then I'm going to go to another organization. Absolute fact. Statistics behind it all over the place. However, what do we do wrong? We put up these great sites that have giant amounts, piles, hundreds of thousands. That might be an exaggeration a bit, but thousands and thousands of different learning types, whether it be something a manager had developed or actual professional learning opportunities through, vendors like LinkedIn Learning or Skillsoft, things like that. But what does that really do for the organization beyond just giving somebody an opportunity to learn things they might, be a little bit, have some questions about? Not a whole bunch. And my position is that that is where we see this gap between knowing and doing. That's an actual studied gap too. There is something people can go into a classroom, they can take the exit exam, look like they know the content very, very well, but at the end of the day, when they return to their desks on Monday, they'll be like, how do I do that again? A lot of them will be like that. What are the reasons for that? A lot of that is organizational culture. simply because of the strategy that that training implementation has gone through has either been like, hey, you got to go to training next week. I've already signed you up. This is coming from somebody's manager. Um, and you, yeah, get it. You just need to get it done. They don't tell them why or anything like that, how it's going to help them in their career, how it's going to help them through their next week or anything like that. That person tends to go sit in that training and think, ugh, first of all, I wish I didn't even have to be here. If it weren't for the donuts, I probably wouldn't be happy at all. And second of all, now I'm being asked to do role plays, engagement exercises, and again, I don't even want to be here. Why am I here? We don't solve that problem very well at all across the board. And that is what my book, Just Training Won't Save You, is an attempt at solving, is identifying where are the key points in whether it be from the implementation phases, even the concept phases of training, how we need to start to engage the organization in the need for that content to be developed. And all of this is being made easier through AI now more and more. But in my overall opinion, I think that a lot of leaders are focusing on the wrong things in AI. They're focusing on like, oh my God, we can fire these 4 instructional designers because this one person can press a button and churn out training all day long and then just post it on the LMS. No, that's not the way that AI should be implemented in those factors and taking over the human. There's a whole bunch of things that we also need to consider in that space. So this has gotten a little bit long-winded from the perspective of why did I write the book at all? To kind of sum it all up, I wrote it because I had a lot of passion in this space in my overall career in seeing, tremendous success and people would say, hey, that was a wonderful training. That was super fun. But what I did not see afterwards was the post-training behavioral change. And then realizing after being in the industry for 20 plus years, even at the leadership levels, most of that was coming from a cultural perspective of how the cultural organization or the organization saw the cultural need for training. And that's today's AQ. Join me again for next week. Put some comments below. But what I would like you to think about really is, what is the last training that you took? Like, why did you take it? Did your manager assign it to you? Did did you have a curiosity and you were like, you know what, I really would like to do this better, and then you implemented that in a silo when realistically that could have been very useful from a perspective of, hey, if my whole team did it this way, this would be so much better, and then everybody gets assigned that and everybody groans? How did that go? So that's the question for today. What was the last training that you took, and why was it assigned to you, and how well did you find yourself applying it post-training? Look forward to next time. Bye.